Today I want to share with you the absolute best shield build in the entire game. This build will make you literally invincible in PvE, and in PvP, well, it depends on what the other guy does, but it is still insanely strong. So you're going to have a great shield. You're also going to have a spear. This is the basics. We're going to do a lot more than this, though. So a great shield and a spear, if you didn't know, will let you attack while simultaneously blocking. For about 99% of bosses in this game, that will make you literally invincible right off the bat. But there's a few problems you need to fix. When you block attacks, it burns your stamina. The amount of stamina that it burns is based on a stat called Guard Boost, which right now I have the best great shield in the entire game. If you saw my other video about the best great shield in the entire game that 99% of players miss, this is it, the Fingerprint Stone Shield. I have a video on how to get this in the description of this video below the first paragraph. But at level 25, with my stats, it has 90 guard boost. The catch is it weighs 29 and it's 48 strength. So this whole build, this whole guard build, is completely based on having an obscene amount of strength and endurance. This is a full melee block build, and you're going to want to be built accordingly. So with that, the other thing that you're going to need for the shield part of this is you're going to want a talisman called the Great Shield Talisman. I will also have a link for this in the description of the video below the first paragraph, how to get that as well. But it was south of the Erdtree Gazing Hill if you do want a quick summary of where it's at. What it does is boost your guarding ability. But I think maybe 10. I just know when this is at 90 and this is on, then I have 100, at least 100. And once you have 100 guard boost, you'll just block and it won't use any stamina. You'll literally be invincible when you hold block. The only thing that can get through that block is whatever your shield does not block, which in this case, magic, fire, lightning, and holy will all still do a small amount of damage. While we're still on the topic of the shield, though, something you can do to negate this, and I personally can't do all of them because I just had New Game Plus because I missed a whetstone in my playthrough, but you can go to Ashes of War and go to the shield, and then you can put on a Ash of War for the shield. Find an Ash of War for the shield, and then if you put on magic, it'll make the shield have more magic defense. In this case, if I put on magic, I'll actually get to 96.2% magic absorption. Obscene amount of magic absorption. Holy at 86.2% holy absorption. So you can always change the shield around for whatever affinity if you have all the appropriate whetstones for it. So that's something else to take into consideration when building the shield in case you're fighting a boss that does holy damage or fire or lightning, and you want to have a little bit less bleed through damage. So you can do that to make yourself even more invincible. Now for this build, you're definitely going to want an Arsenal Charm, greatly raises maximum equip load. And the other thing that you're going to want is the Winged Sword Insignia, which will raise attack power with successive attacks. There's also a Rotten whatever one that gets from the Millicent quest line, the lady in Caelid in that church, way over there. I can just show it on the map. There's a quest line that's all revolving around the Church of the Plague and some lady who's over in there. If you do that quest line, you can get the better version of this, but I don't think there's enough talisman slots for everything, because you're going to want Great Shield. You're going to probably want Arsenal Charm just because these weapons are so bastardly heavy that you need something in order to be able to do it, or you're just going to have 100 endurance or something. So you definitely want a lot of endurance. 30 endurance is not enough at all. The other one that you can get on top of that is you can also have the Erdtree's Favor, which will also give you even more equip load. And even then, in my case, I am still at heavy load. I can take off those gloves, I can take off my talisman, and now I got enough with the pike. Which now when you get to weapons, we got the pike. I have a video on where to get the pike as well. It's in Godric's Castle. There are 2 spears that you're going to use. You're either going to use the pike, or you are going to use the Ant Spur Rapier. And there's a time and a place for each one, and there's also a time and a place for having one that does poison buildup or one that does scarlet rot buildup. There's, again, time and a place for every single one. So let me show you these rapiers, for example. So now that I have the rapier on, with the rapier, what I can do is I can do really fast attacks that use very little stamina. This will do way more DPS than the pike. The reason you'll want this one is if the boss will let you stay close to him, then you can just beat the holy hell out of him with this so fast. Then based on how the boss is, you could either do poison or you could do bleed. If the boss is immune to bleed, then you're just going to want the poison version. If the boss takes bleed, then you're going to want to give it bleed instead. The way you'll do this is you'll go over to the Grace, and you will have an Ash of War called seppuku, which I'll try to put in the description if I can remember. And seppuku will let you, if you have the right whetstones, will let you do a poison version or a blood version. Now, the Antspur already has Scarlet Rot. If you saw my video about the Antspur, you'll see how you can actually have 3 types: bleed, poison, and Scarlet Rot at the same time. So you're just going to build it however makes sense for what you're trying to do with it. I'll put poison on that one. Now, for the pike, you'll also want seppuku again. So you'll want to duplicate your seppuku Ashes of War. And for that, I would highly recommend blood. Poison's never really that good. I mean, if you think you have a time and a place for poison, then do poison. Or if you have an insane amount of arcane and you just want arcane scaling, then go occult. But the main thing you're going to want to do for the pike is bleed, because with bleed, then you'll be able to seppuku with the pike by holding whatever the heck Y is. Whatever button you press, make those icons appear at the bottom left for your second set. And then press your weak right-handed attack if it's in your right hand. Now you're two-handing the spear, or the pike. Now you press heavy left-handed attack to commit seppuku, and now it is buffed with an additional 80 bleed. If you saw my How Blood Loss Works video, you'll know it gives 80 bleed. So now with it at plus 24, it's going to do 164 bleed. The catch is with this pike is it's much slower. When you see this, it looks like it's pretty fast, but when it actually hits an enemy, it goes a lot slower. So why would you want one that's slower? Well, the reason you'll want one that's slower is because the range on the pike is asinine. It goes so far, it's just stupid. And there are some bosses that will try to keep a little bit of distance from you because they have longer range than you. And so they'll try to take advantage of that by they'll do that thing where they back off like this and then keep on attacking with their longer range. And if you're fighting a boss that keeps doing that, then the pike is going to be your hands down best weapon for this shield build. But don't take my word for it. Let me show you how busted this invincible shield build is. I'm going to show you on earlier game boss in Caelid first for people who don't want to see endgame bosses. Then I'm going to show you how broken it is for the Elden Lord, whatever, Radon or whatever his name is. And then also, why don't we take a look at Malenia, whatever, the crazy boss everyone says is the hardest boss in the game. I don't even know how to say her name, okay? Let's take a look at those in that order. So here's the random Birdman statue guy. For this one, I'm just going to use the pike because, well, he might jump away. I don't know his moveset. So I can hold my block, and I can just endlessly hit him and feel completely safe. And he can't do anything. And you'll see when he hits me at the top left, I take no stamina damage at all from anything that he throws at me. Some attacks will still kind of knock you back a little bit, but the block will block the bulk of the damage unless it's magical. Also, you'll see right here is a good situation what I'm talking about. You need the pike because he keeps on getting so much distance between me and him. The other thing you're going to want to know when you're doing this is you're going to want to put your shield down when you can, so it'll let you regen your stamina faster. But basically, no matter what they throw at you, you'll take no stamina damage, and you'll take no HP damage if there's not a magical element to it, which this guy, I think, is doing, I want to say just raw magic damage. But you see how you can just sit here and keep doing this, and I am pretty much invincible to anything other than magic damage. So usually what will happen is you will find if the boss is weak to, or you'll find the boss's magic attacks and just get used to dodging those ones, and then just normal block any other attack that the boss has. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you the Elden Lord, the final boss of the game, with the rapier, because he's one where the rapier is better than the pike, and I'm going to show you why. So I'm about to show you the final boss of the game. If you haven't seen him, this is your chance to turn back now, but I'm going to use the Antspur Rapier. The reason I'm going to do this is he's actually immune to bleed damage, so I just want to get him with rot and poison. But realistically, the amount of damage that I can just do with a plus 24 Antspur Rapier with just raw damage is actually kind of obscene when you see how fast I'll be able to attack this guy. It's actually just crazy the amount of damage I can do to him. All right, so I'm just going to run in, and once I get in, I can just hold block, and I can just do this to him. The only things I want to dodge, if I do want to dodge for something like this guy, is he has those ones that do holy damage. And because my shield does not block full holy damage, if I'm min-maxing, I will just block his holy damage as much as I can. The other thing you gotta watch out for is grabs. Enemies can still grab you. So that is your only weakness, is going to be a grab. But you can already see how this build is literally just busted. I can literally just ignore anything he does. And the only thing that happens is I get some holy damage bleed through, But other than that, I can just sit here and just beat the hell out of him to the point where I can crit him with a rapier. That's how much poise damage I can do by just doing consistent stab damage to him. I mean, literally the most broken thing in the entire game. This is hands down the strongest strength build you could possibly have. If you're gonna run a strength build, the only reason you'll run a different weapon is just because you're entertained by the other weapon, basically. I might as well just finish him off at this point. We're so close. It's so easy, guys. It's so easy. I don't even have to try. I don't even have to try at all. It's literally just, it's cheating. It's just cheating, basically. Like, it's insane. I should be able to finish him here. Yeah, that easy. No flasks, no nothing, no effort, no trying. Completely broken OP shield build, most broken thing in the entire game for a strength build. But now it's time to up the ante. I am at Halagtree. I'm gonna show you Malenia? I don't know how to say this lady's name, okay? So this is one that people will say is the hardest boss in the entire game. I've heard that routinely from so many people in the comments on my YouTube videos. And I want to show you just how broken this build is by fighting quite arguably the hardest boss in the entire game. And you'll quickly realize, if you haven't already realized, why it's OP. Now in her case, the pike's the way to go, because she tries to keep that distance I talked about. So you're gonna want to just keep some distance. And I'll be making a video about Malenia probably tomorrow, maybe tonight. So I can just attack her while she attacks, dude. I'm literally invincible. So you can already see that even though she has lifesteal, it hardly even matters because of how invincible I am. There's the attack I wanted to see before the end of the video. And you can see that I am just invincible. And there's nothing she can do about it. Totally OP strength build. Absolutely ridiculous. So if you were looking for the best strength build, best blocking build in the entire game, this is it, guys. It's not going to get better than this. It's so broken, man. And there are some optimizations you can do for it. You can use Golden Vow to increase your attack. You can get both talismans to increase the damage of consecutive attacks. You can get a lot of little bells and whistles to make it even better. But even just at its base, as long as you have enough to where you can block without losing stamina, then the game's just easy mode. It's just stupid how easy the game is. So that's the invincible shield build. Also, I want to let you know that there's another way to get 100 guard boost if you don't want to commit this hard. You can take a great shield that has, say, I think 60 or 70. I think it's 70, actually. Not sure. So one like this. And then with 70 guard boost, you can use the Ashes of War. That is called, let me open it up real fast. There's an Ash of War that drops in Weeping Peninsula. The Ash of War is the Barricade Shield. So I'm going to put that on this real fast. And then what the Barricade Shield does is you can, while blocking, press your heavy left-handed attack, and it will buff the shield with like 30 guard boost, and it will do it while blocking. You can do it, and this looks like you move your shield out of the way, but it actually keeps blocking. That Ash of War can be found down at Weeping Peninsula at nighttime off of a horse boss guy right next to Castlemore and Rampart if you want to get that for the skimped build in case you don't have enough strength or don't feel like going and getting another shield. If you need any of these resources, as many as I have videos about, I will link in the description of this video below the first paragraph under the related section. And that's it, guys. That's the most OP thing in the entire game. It's so busted, like, you don't have to try anymore. You don't have to play the game. I take all my armor off and throw away all my flasks, and the game would still be easy for most bosses. I mean, there's some stuff that's still a little bit hard, but if you get creative, you can just make it work for anything. It's just totally broken, man. PvP, I'm not sure how it is. I haven't even tried it yet, but I definitely would have potential, I'm sure. There's definitely ways you could play into people and just screw them over with it, but bleed is kind of a big thing right now, so not sure how that would go. But ridiculous shield build. Absolutely invincible shield build. Infinite stamina shield build. Best shield build in all of Elden Ring.